The last car my wife and I used was a 94 Corolla, and it wasn't even ours, it was my mother-in-law's. But lately, I noticed while driving the Corolla, it wasn't that comfortable anymore. Or maybe it's just me getting old. I find it harder to drive. I can't really blame the car. The car has been through its paces. I was thinking of buying a car, and well, my wife does agree with me that we need a better ride. So when searching for the next car, we were actually considering secondhand because it's cheaper. But the thing is, I don't know anything about cars, you know, the mechanical know-hows of it. So we thought that it was way better to buy a new one because, well, just for that peace of mind, rather than getting ripped off at a low price, but the car is not in good condition and whatnot, right? So early 2022, this year, you really are in the market for a new car. We test drove a lot of cars. We test drove cars from different brands. We did our research, and eventually we decided to go with the Tiggo 8 Pro. Hi guys, my name is Don, and I own a Tiggo 8 Pro. So I'll be sharing the things that we need in a new car, what we want, you know, things that are good to have, but is okay if it doesn't. So let me start with our needs. So first of all, the ride height. We can all agree that in a sedan, you can feel every pothole, right? But it doesn't mean you can't feel it here. You can. It's just that it's more forgiving. Plus, with a higher ride height, I'm not that afraid anymore or even scared to go into puddles, unlike the way that I feel when I was in a sedan. And we can all agree that it does contribute in some way in comfort, and that's the other thing that we need. Because of our last car, this was definitely one of the priorities. So we needed a car that can make us feel happy and not tired by the time we get to the place, party, event, what have you, after a 2 to 3 hour drive. That's because we'd still like to feel like we're ready to interact with other people rather than somebody who wants to relax for a while after a long drive. I mean, don't get me wrong, coming from a 94 Corolla, any car released within the year 2022 is already a big upgrade when it comes to comfortability. So it really wasn't hard to choose a new car if we're going to be solely basing it on comfort alone. But let's face it, there are other factors to be considered like seating capacity, space, and so on and so forth. Because of our old habits of not going out of the house that often, we replenish our groceries maybe once a month or every other month. So you can already imagine how many bags or boxes that we are taking out of the groceries, as well as how much space we need on the car to get it home, right? Coming from a sedan, I really like the idea of having that third row seat be folded down just for that additional trunk space. So the first time I opened the door in a drive test session, it just looks so good, right? That brown leathery color. And I immediately want to sit on it. I also like the fact that it adds a sense of pride whenever I go into a car wash and the car wash guy says, "Ang ganda po ng loob," you know. And all I can say is, "Thank you po." It's just so nice to hear that someone is appreciating the interior of the car. And let's face it, mainly it's because of the brown seats, right? Brown leathery seats. But I don't know, maybe it's because we're so used to black leather that this brown leathery thing does make it look classy. As a driver though, it's easy to miss or even appreciate the brown leather seats because you're mostly sitting in the front, even maybe on the passenger side. All you can see is our black interiors, right? Your dashboard, your steering wheel, and whatnot. I guess this is really more appreciated by those sitting at the second row, wherein you also have the cup holders that slide down from the middle, right? It's a treat to be sitting on the second row. I won't lie to you, this really isn't a need, all right? The brown leathery stuff, but because I've experienced this, it now is, especially for our next car. So those are the things that we need in a new car. Now let's move on to the things that we want in a car. And these things definitely made the list a lot smaller. Definitely one of the things that I want in a new car. As someone who uses an iPhone, a Mac, an iPad, this is something I really wanted to have in a new car. I know that there's already so many cars out there that has this capability already. And this is not new. But this is new to me, since in the previous car, we only have a USB cable that serves as an auxiliary cable for the phone. I heard about this tech a few years back, and I always wanted to have a car that has this feature. I just know that I'll be spending so much just to have this feature. And now it's made affordable here in the Tiggo 8 Pro. I'll take it. Of course, at first this feature is scary and it takes some time to get used to, especially for somebody like me who's not a pro and who hasn't experienced the feature anything close to this. But now that I do know how it works, it really does add that factor of comfort, which was one of our main needs in the first place, right? Aircon vents on the third row. I never thought about this, but this was more of my wife's want. And I get it, because I remember back in the day, like 10 years ago, my dad owned a Captiva, and that also had a third row. But the sad part about it, there was no aircon vents on the third row. So you can imagine how uncomfortable that is when the car has been parked under the sun for so long, and then you need to crawl back into the third row, and then it's a long drive, right? I always kept asking, is there air conditioning on? Right? It's really, really uncomfortable. So now I agree with that, and we wanted the third row to have aircon vents, because if I was offering a ride and they need to occupy the third row, I never want anybody that I offer a ride to experience the same thing that I did back at that Captiva, right? It's not a pleasant experience. There are so many features that the Tiggo 8 Pro has. We all know this, we can agree on this. And each of them has their own unique way of generating this amazement for you, like this panoramic sunroof, the touchscreen displays, the adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, so on and so forth, right? Here are the things that still amazes me to this day, owning it for 5 months. And the first should really be the tailgate. No doubt about it. It's actually so amazing to me up until this day that it's the first feature that I wanted to share with you guys on this channel. I remember seeing this power tailgate feature for the first time. I believe it was on a Ford. I forgot what model it was, but it was a couple of years ago. I'm so amazed by it. I can say that it's still the same amazement that I have to this day when I saw the first power tailgate on that Ford, right? I don't know why. It's just, maybe it's the automation thing, the speed of which it goes up and down, or just the sheer idea that somebody's doing the power lifting for you. I like that idea. Just the thought of something is doing the heavy lifting for you. Oh, by the way, did I mention that you can open the tailgate without touching anything? Adjusting the seats is quite interesting here in this car. At least for the first row, the driver's seat and then the passenger seat. They're now electronic instead of the mechanical way of doing it. And it's fun to use, right? However, it does take some time before it reaches your desired position. In any way, once you've got that down, even your backrest, I believe you'll rarely even change it. You have a total of 9 settings, right? You have 3 here in memory. You have 3 per key. So that's, yeah, 3, 3, 3. That's 9. If you want to know more about how you can actually set those, both here manually and then on the infotainment settings, you can check out the video here that's somewhere. Also, on these seats on the front row, they have vents for air conditioning. To be honest, I don't really use them that much, but when the time comes you park the car for so long under the sun, you just got inside the car and it's really hot, it actually helps, you know, cooling down the temperature, everything, especially in this seat where it's leather, it does help. So that's a good thing. Okay, so this may sound biased, all right? Because 5 months ago, when we were finalizing which car we would be buying, this car looked so much better than the ones we were comparing it with. Maybe because it was new back then. Or, well, it's still new now, right? But I often see people that doesn't know the car yet, and you would see that they would have a second look. I mean, it is a looker. So I can see them really looking straight at the grille. You know, it really does look good, especially when the DRLs are on. It does have that stance that's distinguishably different from other brands, right? So if you're already an owner of the Tiggo 8 Pro, probably you've decided to bring it to the detailing shop. And once it came out with the new ceramic coating, you might think that nothing's changed though. It's just quintabo, right? Or if you would prefer something like a PPF, once it came out of the detailing shop still, you would touch the new PPF, you would say Kiniso, right? Regardless if you decided to put those things on the car or not, my taste would be questionable if I didn't say that this car really looks good. It's just ASTIG. So obviously the things that we needed and wanted for our next car was here on the Tiggo 8 Pro. But none of these really matter and make it the best choice for my wife and I if we can't afford it. So here's the thing that I think will change in the future: the pricing, the way car manufacturers will price their cars. Here's why. The Tiggo 8 Pro 1.6T variant is the baseline model here in the Philippines at least. And yet it's anything but basic. I'm always wondering what I'm missing out if I didn't buy the higher tier model. Well, it's either the 1.6 right now or the PHEV, right? We don't have the AWD yet. But still, I'm not looking towards... Well, first of all, I can't afford it. But if I can afford it, I would have went with the EV model. That's the way of the future. But with the 1.6, since this is the model that our household can afford, it doesn't feel like I needed something more. I mean, what Chery has done here, because they are the ones that brought the Tiggo 8 Pro, what they did here was lower the cost of entry to an experience that only the elites are able to experience on luxury tier vehicles, right? They're really coming up with cars that offers the best bang for buck. And this is good for those like me that can't afford to spend more than 2 million, 3 million for a car. By no means am I an expert on the car economy or whatever, but this is how I'm seeing it, just to satisfy my own curiosity. The way car manufacturers price their car is similar to building a PC. The more gaming capable the machine is, the more expensive it is. So it goes the same here as well. But the sportier it gets, the more luxurious the interior gets as well. So there are two factors that really bumps up the price: the racing factor or the sport factor and the luxury factor, right? So what about those people that like the luxury but doesn't need the performance? I think this is a market that Chery really nailed with the Tiggo 8 Pro, because at least the 1.6 variant is luxury, safety first, then engine performance second. I mean, I'm not saying the engine is not performant either. There are owners in Facebook groups that post and share their experiences that are climbing up Baguio and are jam-packed. So if that's not performant or capable for you, I don't know what is. I kept on saying that this car is affordable, but I'm not saying that it's cheap either. I guess what's best to describe it is it's a good deal. It's a really good deal. In the grand scheme of things, Chery did release a car that has so much to offer, and we're just fortunate enough that we can afford it. Now, I'll be sharing some of the things that I've gotten used to and is still getting used to this day when driving this car for the past 5 months. One of the first things probably that you will notice yourselves is the weird behavior of the hazard lights triggering itself, right? It just turns on. Rear collision warning, when it's turned on, whenever there is a vehicle approaching you from behind really, really fast, it triggers the hazard lights automatically to notify the driver behind you that, hey, I'm here, right? Something like that. You might notice this the first time that you will be taking your Tiggo 8 Pro home from the dealership. Don't be alarmed, all right? Because this is not a bug. It's actually a feature. I have to be honest, it's annoying at first, especially here in the Philippines where there are a lot of motorcycle drivers out there that just likes to get close behind you. And I'm not sure though, but I'm thinking that these are really pro drivers because they got the concept of drafting, right? Where they're right behind you, and then all of a sudden when you stop or decrease your speed, they get to overtake you. That's a pro driving move, right? The other thing is that it kind of makes you look stupid because not all people yet know this feature. And if I didn't know that this feature existed on the car and I was still driving the 94 Corolla, I would say that why the hell is that person turning on their hazard lights while moving at 50, 60 kilometers per hour? But I think it works, at least for me, because if I see somebody in front of me that turns on their signal or hazard lights, I would distance myself away from that car, right? And I would just assume at some point that car would just start to go to the side and pull over safely. At the very least, if you don't like it and you're annoyed by it, you can always turn it off on the infotainment systems and just turn off rear collision warning, right? For me, I just leave it on and I got used to it. The other feature that's so easy to get used to because it's so cool is the auto sensing feature. It's just so easy to unlock the car just by walking up to it and doing nothing, right? That's so cool. Believe me, it's not that hard to get used to this feature because it's so convenient. But since that we bought the Faraday pouches, I just need to remember what pocket the key should be on so that it activates the auto sensing feature. And that also goes the same with locking the car. You just have to walk away from it and you will hear a sound. That means that it's locked. I'm so used to this that by now I should be hearing the sound that it's making when it's locked. If it doesn't, I have to check inside if the other key is inside, or I don't know, I just need to press the key fob, the lock button on the key fob manually. Because of this, I'm so confident most of the time that I can start bringing bags of or boxes of groceries and just leave the car. Even if my hands are full, it will just lock automatically. On the same topic, if the engine is running and you leave the car and the key is inside your pocket while leaving the car, it will make an alarming sound. It says the key fob is not detected or something like that. This is so annoying and will draw attention, definitely. So because I know this, I've gotten the habit of, if before I leave the car, I need to remember where the key is. If it's in my pocket, I just leave it inside the car with my wife in it. Let's face it, in driving any car, there are expectations of sound and noise, depending on the road conditions. Whether it be on, driving through a pothole or a bump at high speeds, you'll definitely hear the impact in these. But when I drive in a really good flat pavement, I can barely hear anything. And this is so easy to appreciate. And eventually you'll get used to it, especially if you're making this your daily driver. I just know that when I start to hear something, it will be almost always be in relation to the tires hitting the road. And more often than not, I can say that the road is bad, So often the things that I hear inside this cabin while driving are things like the phones, charging cables, bags, tissue boxes, whatever's loose, something inside that can just make sound, in one of the compartments here in the car. So far, I'm grateful and lucky that, none of these, like the dash panels and whatnot, they don't make a sound while you're driving, even if you hit like a bump or a bad road, right? All right, so this isn't a sound chamber or like a recording studio of any kind. No, this is far from it. You will still hear cars outside, like their horns when they honk at you. You will still hear that. And you should, right? You definitely should, especially people screaming or shouting at you, just in case that you ran over their toes or something like that. And of course, one might say, well, all cars are like that. They're quiet when they're new. That's why if this quality degrades, I'll definitely report it. When, how, where's the sound coming from and whatnot, all right? So you know what to do. So while we're in the topic of this being quiet, you can also barely hear the sound of the engine. From here, at least maybe in idle or at very low RPMs. Of course, if you rev it hard, you will hear it. If not, then probably there's a problem, right? And you need to be visiting your nearest dealership. I have to be honest here, at times it's annoyingly quiet because I'm not one that honks at people to move aside. And it does take some time for them to even notice that there is a car, which is this one, right behind them. On any car that I've driven before, I usually distance myself or give myself some allowance before I make the turn, just so that I could avoid hitting the sidewalk or whatever with my rear wheel, right? I mean, it's still the same here on the Tiggo 8 Pro. It's just bigger compared to what I was used to. And I'm always scared of hitting my new rims on the corner of that sidewalk. So since we know that the AVM kicks in whenever you turn on your signal light, it does give you that visual bird's eye view look of what's surrounding the car. And it's easier for me to know if I can make the turn safely or if I should stop making the turn or just drive straight before I complete the whole turn. I have to be honest here, I'm so used to it that even if I don't need to use it, because we know that turn signals are there to inform other drivers around you that, hey, I'm going to make a turn, right? But even if there are no other drivers around me, I still use that turn signal just because of that AVM thing. So this also goes with reversing whenever I need to park the car or just adjust the positioning of the car. I rarely use the rear view mirror since that I don't see anything there, at least for when you're parking. For me, at least, the rear view mirror is only used for just checking out if the second row passengers are sleeping or not. But I just noticed that getting used to the AVM I'm just looking at the screen in the middle, the infotainment screen, and the side mirrors. As shameful as it is to admit, I've gotten so used to this feature that I'm dependent on it. I think it made me a bad driver in some way. In any ways, I will definitely visit our dealership once one of our cameras, starts to black out or something. All right, so I might be missing something here. There's no indicator or way for me to find out right off the bat if the doors are locked or not. Still to this day, I keep forgetting that I need to pull the handle twice just to open the door. I know that this is supposed to be a safety feature, and I noticed this during the first few weeks after it has been updated, the auto lock update that we were called for so that they could install the update. I was just so used to opening the door or pulling the handle once from the inside, even if the doors are locked. So the hard part here is not all people that you're offering a ride to know that they need to pull the handle twice and might think that just pulling the handle once and a bit harder might even break the handle, right? So for me, I need to be proactive about this and just unlock in advance whenever I know that somebody will be exiting the car or before I even go to a full stop. So this is definitely one of the cooler ones. I noticed this while starting the car, and your seat will move, right? By the way, this is only applicable to the driver's seat. For me, at least, it's already a given that when I enter the car, it's already extended just to give me more room to enter the car. Or when I exit the car, when I turn it off, it gives me more space, the same amount of space that it does when I'm entering the car. At first, it's confusing because I was using different keys. You should remember that there is one setting for the easy entry on one key and one for the other key. Just something to remember. I know that this is more of like to help the longevity of the car or the engine. So what the heating indicator does is it tells you that the car is heating and the car is trying to get its engine to its desired temperature before you even get to use it, right? Now, this is one of those things that can be the longest wait of your life if you're really in a hurry. But it really doesn't take that long. So because I know this and I got used to this, it's really not an option for me to be in a hurry. And especially if there are other people. So I usually enter the car 5 to 10 minutes earlier than they do, because by that time, the heating is already done. And once they get inside the car, we'll just leave, right? So there are so many features that this car has that it brings a whole new standard and definitely will reflect on the way we will choose the next car. I just hope that by the time that we will buy our next car after this one, all of these features are standard. But even still, it doesn't mean that this car has the feature. It's implemented well. So these are things that I feel like are sort of half-assed when it comes to implementation. So the way Chery designed their default apps like the music player, the radio, the picture viewer, the movie player, more importantly, the settings. You can see that they're trying. The settings is one of the most important portions of, let's say, the system, because that's where you could get the toggle on and off whatever feature you want. So I can understand that each item on the list, is essential. But it would be easier for somebody to distinguish what type or what it does or what it's aiming at when it's grouped. Because right now, the settings, I believe, it's like a list of features. That's what it is to me. They're just adding one feature on top of the other with a toggle, regardless of what it is. But I can see that they are trying, it's just, they should have put more effort into grouping, let's say, for features of a key, the smart key. What does this do? Because it confused me at first, wherein I thought the easy entry was part of getting inside the car. But all it did was something for the driver's seat, which has nothing to do with me unlocking the car. One way of doing this is probably putting them into groups, right? Or just separating them and having some sort of header or subheader, what have you. And even some explanation, right? Like footers underneath each item that would say, sort of like a description of what the item actually does if you turn it on or off. So I believe in addition to these text descriptions that you can add, there could also be some sort of demo of, let's say, an image that shows that, gives you a visual representation of what it can do, or even a video, that would be better, just so that the user can identify what this item is for. It removes the thinking part from us, the users. I wouldn't underestimate images. I remember back in the day when I was building Legos, and the Legos had manuals, and those manuals didn't have a single sentence. It was all done graphically, right? You could complete the whole set just by looking at the manual, and it wasn't even a video, right? There were all images. Of course, it's a different story with the Lego manual and this one. It may not apply here, especially in a car where you need to explain something when the car is moving, right? So in that case, you need a video. Why not add a video? I mean, you already have the big screen anyways. I really do know that this seems a lot of work, especially something that doesn't even improve the performance of the car. It's all about the user experience. And most of us, the users, really want to appreciate the purchase, but can't because we can't understand the features, right? There's just something that makes me as a user happy if I could change something to my liking without even having to Google it. In a way, it just makes me appreciate the product more and appreciate the fact that the makers are helping me discover new features, right? When I test drove the car for the first time, it was a purple test unit, and I saw on the AVM that the car is white. So I asked, can we change this? Can we change the color from white to purple? And the agent said no, it's safer that it was white. And I get it, it's sort of like a contrast to the road, especially in dark conditions, right? Because since the car was relatively new, maybe they don't even know that there is a setting. But when I got to tinker around with the settings, true enough, there isn't. It's just white. Regardless of what color you buy, it's white on the AVM system. I wish Chery just did provide us with that option. I mean, regardless of what Chery thinks if it's safer or not, if they give us the option, you can change your color, but we prefer or advise that you use the color white. It's up to us now, as somebody who is actually using the car, to determine if, let's say I want this to be repainted in yellow. If we're going to be sticking with that reasoning of, is it safe in dark conditions, yellow could be bright enough, right? It's still the same. The thing is, we already have the hardware, the screen, the cameras, everything is there. All you need to do is just change that 3D model to a different color. And there are systems that do this, third-party accessories that you can buy that have this option to change what model of the car and even the color of the car. So I don't know why stick with just white. Hopefully it's something that can be done in a future update. Okay, so in a previous video that we made, I tested the auto wiping feature of this car, and I tested it wrong. But even if I got that right, I still don't get how it determines when to stop wiping, because it adds an additional unnecessary 8 wipes, more or less, before it stops. I'm just concerned about the wiper blades and that it will wear out more than I expect it to. Okay, so I really love the auto feature, but relying it all on the auto feature doesn't seem to be the best in the long run if it's implemented this way. So I just hope that there would be an update for this, because I can imagine that wipers will be replaced sooner than expected. When I saw this for the first time on YouTube reviews, I was amazed. I'm actually impressed. I just noticed that it really did, well, in all fairness to the reviews, they did say that it's fingerprint magnet, just like our phones, you know, the screens. They are really leaving those marks on the panel. Regarding of how scratch resistant it is, I don't know, because when we got this from the dealership, we never really removed the plastic film that's on top of it until we bought ours and it was delivered, and that's the only time that we replaced the plastic that came from the dealership. So I really can't tell you. But even still, with that film, it's still fingerprint magnet. But if you take time after using the car, you know, every once in a while, you wipe it down with a clean cloth, you would see the beauty of, you know, the aesthetic, right? That seamless panel without so much buttons, so much creases and so on. It really does tie into the luxury feel of the leathery brown seats, right? So I'm still impressed by it to this day. But this is a really good example of a design decision that is form over function, right? because after a while of using it, I saw that I needed that AVM button. I get it. The aesthetics work having that seamless panel, but when it comes to using it, I can hardly feel, well, there's nothing to feel. You want to tap the AVM button, but accidentally you tap on the driving mode. I need to take time while driving. I need to take time to look at the panel and see if I tap the correct button. So there is a button there in the panel, the hazard button, and it's really designed well because it's tactile, it's not capacitive. It's a thing of its own. It has its own space. So I imagined if the 5 buttons are tactile, it would work well, but it wouldn't look as seamless as it is now, right? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I have to say that the DRLs really do give that additional you know, when it comes to the aesthetics, the overall aesthetics. When it's turned on, it really is cool, right? But the problem I have with this is when you turn on, let's say, right turn signal or even left turn signal, the DRLs turn off and the signal lights turn on. And that also goes with hazard. None of the DRLs are on, and then the signal lights are just on. I've seen cars that do this and they are able to have the signal lights while the DRLs are turned on. Imagine me doing this, right? So I have the DRL. So this is turned off. This is the DRL turned on, right? And if I'm turning a signal, let's say to my right, I would go like this, right? Or if I'm on hazard, I would do this. Right? It's just, I don't know, it seems wrong. The other is always on while the other is blinking. Or maybe it's just me. I just like things to be balanced. But in any way, I'm not complaining because just like Sir Michael, an admin of WCWL Facebook group, he said he came from a car where the only safety feature that he had was the seatbelt. All right. So just like me, I'm not, okay, I'll still take them. I mean, most of them are probably software updates, hopefully. There are things in this car that it doesn't have. Well, actually, before I go into that, I'll dissect this into 3 categories. So first is, I wish it did have. I can have it. I'm okay with not having it. And then the other is definitely, I'm okay with not having. All right. Number 1 is the single panel that you find on the PHEV. I really like that combination of 2 screens wherein it's like laminated into one single panel. I think it ties in well with the center console glossy finish thing, right? Where it's almost all glass, but we know that it's not glass. You know, the infotainment will just span through the whole thing until your cluster. It looks minimal and futuristic in some way. And speaking of futuristic, I'm not sure though if it will support, but when I saw Apple's keynote introducing the new Apple CarPlay, it just looks seamless. I'm not sure if Chery will support that on the PHEVs. I hope it does. I just hope that there would be this one glass panel thing because I saw this in person when Sir Jay showed it to us at a small meetup, and I was really impressed by it. That's all I can say. When I saw it in person, I was, yeah, I can live with this, you know? Okay, so the next thing is the built-in dash cam. Am I sounding like a jerk right now? Because I don't even know if it's a thing that cars will be shipped out with dash cams. I mean, they already have AVM, sure, but the dash cams, will it kill the dash cam industry if each car manufacturer would ship out cars with their own dash cams? I'm not sure. The reason why I added this to my list of things that I wish it had is there were questions, you know, if we can install dash cams, and the answer is yes. But can we install it hardwired? The answer was no. I want this to be hardwired. So the way we did it was we called our agent and said, we have a dash cam here. We bought a dash cam. And then we would want it installed by the dealership because we don't know how to install it ourselves and we don't want any warranty be voided in the process of installing. And so it was done in the dealership, but the person who installed it was from a company that has been installing dash cams in Tiggos, right? I'm not sure if we just effectively voided our warranty and the dealership helped us, right? I believe there was no splicing here or whatever, but the fact that I'm even concerned about it even up until now, is because of if I voided the warranty. Voice controls. By default, the 1.6T versions, the one that ships here in the Philippines, doesn't have voice controls. So far, here's the list shared by Sir J. Santos again on a Facebook group. These are the list of features that you can request. It can open windows, it can open the sunroof. So I'm thinking, is it really essential or even integral to the driving experience? No. Is it nice to have? Definitely, right? Come to think of it, the voice assistant for Apple, right? I really don't use Siri that much. I actually use Siri more here when it's hooked up rather than when I'm outside the car. So now that I'm thinking about it, voice control can actually be helpful while driving. Well, we have fog lamps. I made a video before. We have fog lamps for the rear, but not on the front. It wasn't incorporated here on the 1.6T. It did on the PHEV, and I saw it. Okay, so this is like the placeholder, and it looks like you could just add like a light strip here. So let's say we know that this is something that can be modified via third party or whatnot. We could cut a hole here and then install like some series of lights. The next step would be how to turn it on from the driver's side. How do you know it's on? How will that be displayed on the cluster, right? And then the other is, what if I just bought the piece from the PHEV variant? It was a good thing that I asked from Chery, Sir Carney Wang, if I could buy the piece from PHEV and have it installed here on the 1.6. He said that that was different. All right, so it's a good thing that I asked. Otherwise, if I bought it in advance, I'm not even sure if I could buy it. But if I was able to buy or acquire something and have it installed, that would be an epic fail, right? So, and that would still have the same problem as the one in the third party, wherein how would that reflect on the cluster and the control stick, right? Yeah, I don't know how that would work. The headlights. These are not adaptive headlights. On the manual, it just says adaptive headlights if equipped. From what I'm seeing on other videos, when you turn at a certain angle, the headlights will also turn. And that gives more visibility towards where you're turning in dark situations. So that's what I think adaptive headlights do. But I think that's only one part or one feature of adaptive headlights, right? There's probably a set of features that adaptive headlights do. And anyway, this car doesn't have it. I can see how this is a deal breaker for others where you're traveling more often than not at high speeds and the roads are poorly lit. I can see how that really helps. For me at least, it's okay that I don't have it because I can't even make the intelligent high beam turn on its own, right? That's how often I am driving in well-lit roads. Okay. I've seen videos of other Tiggo 8 Pros that have this feature. You know, when they start the car, there is one like no seatbelt indicator and then three others, and that means it's for the second row. Sorry, it doesn't have that for the second row. So I mean, they already have seatbelt indicators for the first row. Why not complete the whole feature set for the seatbelts at least, right? And anyway, it's something that it doesn't have, and it's a shame because I mean it has rear collision warning. If a car is going to really crash from behind it, I can't do anything about it. Might as well have seatbelt indicators for the second row, right? So that way I can say that I won't be moving the car unless you have the seatbelt. Anyways, so that's one thing that it doesn't have. Let's move on to the thing that's just one thing that I'm okay with not having, and that's auto parking. So I've been asked about this on both YouTube and Facebook. Why does it not have auto parking when it already has high-end features like the adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, so on and so forth, right? There are a lot of features that make it high-end, and yet it doesn't have auto parking. Here's how we look at auto parking feature. It's just a way for manufacturers to flex to customers that, hey, we have the tech and resources to do this, right? And I'm pretty sure it's something advanced. Watching the car just do its own thing, that's impressive, right? It determines if a certain space provided is doable for parking, it will park on its own. And of course, this is something that, since it's new, if I was the car manufacturer, yeah, let's definitely bump the price up, right? I can't say I would want to trade this feature over adaptive cruise control or even lane keep assist. I would rather have those two, or even just adaptive cruise control. Okay, so maybe in the future, I might consider auto parking. When auto parking is replaced with the term self-parking. Because at this point, auto parking is, you're still inside the car. I can see this as a really cool way of wasting your time. It doesn't really do anything to improve my life, per se. Here's the thing. Imagine if it's self-parking, then I could just leave the car, because by the time the car has been parked, circling around, finding a parking space, I'm already at my appointment. Now that's valuable. For me, at least, I can really remove this from the feature list because I test drove a car 5 months ago with this feature. And I have to say I'm impressed. Okay, I really am impressed just to see some automation happening. But I kept asking myself, am I going to use this? And I saw the car in the space. It was taking longer than if I would park it myself. If this car had auto parking feature, I would use it probably once just to see if it's working, but I wouldn't use it. Now, I'm just curious because I know that, like me, who have been driving more than 10 years, wouldn't really be excited about an auto parking feature. I'm just curious, all right? Are they not teaching this at driving school anymore? Is parking like not included anymore in the curriculum when you're at driving school? Because I know this was one of the tests, like parking parallel. I don't know. I'm just curious. All right. Okay, so this is one topic that I really like to touch on a lot, but I really don't know much about it yet because, well, fortunately, we don't need to go to the dealership and put out the warranty handbook because we needed some parts to be replaced or anything repaired or something like that. But one thing I do know is, here in the Philippines at least, the after sales are great. I know this because other owners of the Tiggo 8 Pro, they share their own experiences in Facebook groups. During the first few months or weeks after having to take home the Tiggo 8 Pro, the registration and the license plates weren't available yet. And we never had to check twice with the dealership or our agent until 6 weeks after that she informed us that it was available, right? So she knows that we have something else that we needed from her. She knows that, and we never bothered to follow up. Maybe once, but not more than twice. And once those things are ready, she would just inform my wife, and then we would schedule when will we be able to get it from the dealership. In our case, the last item was, the mats in the car. We have it shipped from the dealership to our place. We just had to book a Grab. That's it. Whenever we contacted her, more often than not, the reply was within the same day. We wanted to contact her because I was having issues with some slight steering wheel adjustment. The steering wheel is not dead on center, right? If I try to center it, it will swerve a bit to the left. But other than that, the response time is there. And she actually told us how much time it will take to repair and so on and so forth once the car is there. So if you're near Pasig area, I really do recommend Mara Manjares. She is our agent, and her details will be somewhere here on the screen and in the description below. I reach out to other people sharing the experience that they have on Facebook because I really do appreciate that they are sharing. And I really want to give a shout out to Sir Robert Abao and Alfred Palomo for sharing, the recent front camera problem experience. The reason I'm doing this is because I really wanted to know what is the turnaround time for Chery and how it gets things fixed. Well, apparently the answer is it depends on the part, if it's available or not. If it's available, because I know that they have a storage warehouse here somewhere. And yeah, I can understand that not all the parts are there or available. And if it is, it can be done less than a week. If the part that is needed to be replaced is not there, it gets around 3 weeks for the item to get shipped here. Yeah, I guess that's excluding how much time it gets to fix it, right? So that sort of gives me an idea of how long a thing like a camera can take before it gets fixed. So I'm really quite happy to know this from the other owners, and sort of gives me this impression of Chery not leaving you hanging. There is some action. The time it takes, yeah, it's a bit long, but comparing to other manufacturers that, it can take more than 2 months, I mean, I'll take this, all right? Unfortunately, this goes to show that the car really isn't that perfect, right? If ever you receive a lemon, I believe, just like in Chery Africa, if you receive a lemon car, Chery will actually replace the car. Personally, for me, there was a time that there was an error, you know, that dreaded yellow exclamation mark before I even started the car. I just start once and then there's this yellow. I forgot what it said, but after I turned it off and then I turned it on again, it was gone. And then there was also this one time wherein I was at high speed. Every time I bump into a pothole or just some minor vibrations, the seatbelt warning would come on. And my seatbelt was on. So what's up with that? When you're being warned without the seatbelt, that gives you that bell sound and it's annoying. And then after a while, it just went off. It wasn't warning me anymore. So there are a series of bugs, and this really goes to show that the car isn't perfect. And it's annoying to know that these bugs can happen at any time. And I'm constantly trying to emulate the scenarios and try to trigger those bugs again. Maybe it's something I did, you know, but unfortunately, I can't replicate them all the time. There would be some factors that I might be missing, but these are weird bugs. Hopefully, it doesn't happen that often. I mean, it happened like twice in 5 months. That's it for me. And anyway, if something happens to the car and it becomes unusable, I'll definitely let you guys know and let the dealership know as well. And then from there, let's see what happens, right? So you might be wondering what Facebook groups I've been mentioning throughout this whole video so far. For one, it's the WCWL with Chery with Love. Sir Michael Mikis is one of the admins of this group, and I urge you to join this. And the other is Chery Tiggo 8 Pro Club Philippines. This was created by Sir Alvin. Thank you so much. This is really well curated by him, along with other moderators, one of which is Sir Edison, who is really helpful in answering other concerns of members when I first joined. And then one is Sir Jaden, who is probably one of the technical people that gets to answer your questions. Really helpful, really informative. The other is Sir Jason, who is a big proponent of getting the Tiggo 8 Pro owners together. So guys, if there is an invite, let's make this happen, right? Let's help Sir Jason. And then the other is Sir Dennis, who also happens to be a YouTuber and is making videos about the Tiggo 8 Pro to know, you know, what to do, really good how-tos. And then, of course, yours truly. This group is constantly growing, and by sharing your experiences, by asking questions, each of us gets to think a bit different about the Tiggo 8 Pro and how we would maintain it, how would we take care of it, how you would drive it, how you would whatever, right? It just gives you that feeling that you're not alone. We know that all of us here are new to Chery, we're new to the car. There are some questions that we're asking to ourselves. I just want you to know that you can ask the community. So to all the members of the groups, thank you so much for posting your experiences, sharing your experiences, asking questions, because to me, they are a testament to what I can enjoy with your adventures, what I can experience with your questions, and just overall makes me more aware of what can happen to the car, what I can do with the car, and so on and so forth. Even with all the videos that I published so far, I really am not a pro when it comes to cars. And I'm just an owner like you, sharing your experiences, sharing your knowledge with the car. Thank you so much. Hanggang sa ulitin, kita kits. Let's go!